Hello. As the title suggests, dialectical behavior therapy is a form of behavior therapy. And in behavior therapy, the assumption is that one's well-being depends not so much on unconscious processes or even on your thoughts directly, but largely on what you do, which in turn depends partly on what you are capable of doing. There is an old joke, isn't there, where a patient who is about to have their hand operated on by a surgeon is being reassured by the surgeon that they will be able to still do up the buttons on their shirt and to use a knife and fork properly and so on. And the patient says, "But what about playing the piano?" And the surgeon says, "Absolutely no problem." And the patient says, "Well, that's terrific because I've always wanted to play the piano. I wish I had this operation years ago." And it's an old joke, but it hinges on the idea that you can only ever do what you have acquired the skills to do. And in DBT, the main skills that are taught are not piano playing, but how to regulate your emotions, how to tolerate distress, the skills in interpersonal effectiveness and mindfulness, as well as, in DBTA especially, walking the middle path. In other words, not thinking or acting in extremes. So that, the skills, is the real meat of it. But if that is the behavior therapy bit, what about the dialectical bit? It is, after all, dialectical behavior therapy. Well, as I'm sure you know, a dialectic is a discussion aimed at resolving two apparently opposing points of view, or an apparent contradiction. And one of the frequent contradictions that Marsha Linehan, the originator of DBT, describes is where you might embark on teaching your client how to behave differently. And they might say to you, "But you don't understand why I behave like this. If only you knew all about the background and the pressures on me, you would understand why I behave the way I do, and you wouldn't tell me to behave differently." And so you say to yourself, well, this is a fair point perhaps, so maybe we need to help the person to accept more the position they find themselves in, and not necessarily to behave differently. And when you do that, your client says to you, "But you don't understand just how much I am suffering. I have to alter this situation. To tell me to accept it is ridiculous." So Marsha Linehan describes that very well, but also the more frequent apparent contradiction whereby it is not the client's fault that they find themselves in the distressing position they are in, but it is nevertheless their responsibility to learn to respond to it effectively. So in summary, dialectical behavior therapy enables us to help people who are in a great deal of distress and to teach really useful skills for such people. And it does so with the use of metaphors and validation and problem solving and more. It is a very good package, I think. The place to start is with the DBT Essentials course, or DBTA if you work with adolescents. And then move on to the Running Skills Development Groups, the course about how to teach these important skills in groups. And take the exams associated with both of those courses. And, if you wish to, then take the masterclass as well. And that would take you up to Level 4 APT Accreditation if you want to take it that far. But the place to start is with DBT Essentials or DBTA if you work with adolescents. If it's just you or 2 or 3 of you who want to train, then you can either attend the live 3-day open course run on Zoom or Teams, or you can attend the specially recorded Anytime course and start that anytime you like and study it at your own pace. If there's a group of you want to attend, or a group of you who maybe want to set up a complete DBT service, then you can do the same thing as we've just described, or you can have a tutor come to you and teach you all live, either face-to-face or via Zoom or Teams. And finally, just on accreditation, there are 1 or 2 organisations which try to say that they are like the official provider of DBT training, which I think is a little bit mischievous. For me, the APT accreditation system, where the course is written by APT, refined by feedback from a substantial cohort of tutors and delegates, and finally accredited by the mental health professionals who attend the actual training, is the most relevant and transparent accreditation available. And just to be doubly sure, the APT's DBT training is also accredited by the American Psychological Association, the US being where DBT originated. So there it is, and if you want to pursue it further, just search online for DBT training from APT Psychology, or look at the last slide, which probably says just the same thing.